let's get to it. So over here, during my walk, I told you I picked up on a shadow of some sort darting out of there. My original interpretation that it was just not something that we're used to seeing here. A part of me is starting to think that it may be some kind of a child spirit. I don't know. I'm going to say a prayer for it nonetheless. But what I want to do now is just get a good sweep of each room. So this room is running flat. So there's probably some kind of a power line here. EF is going to be like your power lines. EMF is what we typically look for. RF is going to be your radio frequencies, so like your cell phones, security cameras and things like that. So we're picking up something here, but that's nothing. We're looking at EMF. The only reason I have RF and EF here is that helps me validate any EMF I'm getting. A lot of those K2 meters and things like that, they pick up all of these things, but all you get is a hit, and you say it's EMF. What this meter does is it allows me to validate the EMF I'm picking up. It is tri-axis, so it's picking up quite a, it's searching around everywhere. And all we're doing is a sweep. So we got some EMF right here. As usual. So we come down from here and we're picking up nothing, but we got something here. Now when I go and I do the investigation portion, I'm going to be looking at things outside of this range. But just for general purpose, this EMF field is a source of power, or a source of energy. So now if you're here, so right through here we're picking up something. So this is just going to be that general sweep. I want to see what I'm getting in these areas. So when I come back through, I can compare it to my medium walk and my investigation. Jeez. Is that from the light? Yeah, so you could say this whole area is giving off energy. So, not energy, paranormal energy, but just electrical energy. So, this I don't know. And we could almost take this, so I really feel like electrostatic energy will tell me residual energy readings. But if the EMF is just high in this area, 0.1 ain't everything. But if it just runs high, that'll show you something. So I'm bringing it up to the camera now because I want to see what the camera might be reading, or the reading for the camera. And it's nothing. I don't have my cell phone on me. So when I make a map of this place, I'll be able to map out what the EMF reading is. Here we go into this area. Is that because of the lamp? So when you do these readings, these EMF readings, you want to do a measure. So you see that lamp? Not much. So So when I come through here, you get a pretty steady 0.1 reading. And zeroing out over here. So remember, this is where I said I saw that guy. So you're climbing back here. Why? This is where I originally saw the guy at. So this is where I originally saw him. And it's the EMF's high back here. Now you would have to check up there too to see what you might be having. So if we want to check up there with EMF, let's take it down. Does it get lower towards the floor? We're not picking up any EF. We're not picking up any RF. We shouldn't be picking up any RF. So you have to say, compared to that other room, we were averaging about 0.1, 0.2, 0.4 in some areas. Over here we're about 0.1. We got some that go as high as 0.8. So for an average, I would probably give this area a pretty good 0.4, 0.45 for EMF reading. But if you're looking at the average will be higher than the median. The median's going to give you a better idea of the EMF of this area. If you're running on average, since you hit those ones over there that were 0.8, the average is going to be higher. Median will give you a better idea because you have those outliers. But over here, you're looking at a pretty solid 0.3 for EMF reading. And then we'll do this main hub over here, where I said it felt pretty concentrated. And you read nothing. Point one. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this thing in frame for you guys. 0.2, 0.1. Yeah, you see a person, don't you? 0.0, 0.1. You see that little EF reading, which means we might have a power line somewhere. Still fairly low. So if you had a K2 meter, it'd be flickering on the lower end, you know? What I want to know is everything. So that's why I use this meter. So you see that? We got some RF reading. You get that RF reading, you want to start looking for cameras and things like that. So you would say this area has maybe like a 0.1 average. If you're thinking about EMF as something spirits can use for energy, you got a 0.1 average. You do have an average for them to work with. So you got to think behind here, since you have that high EF reading, there's a power line in the wall. You see, as we move it closer to the camera, there's nothing. As you move it closer to this picture, it spikes up to 13. You bring it closer to here, you get EF, EMF, and 8. You start to see sort of where your power line might be with those spikes. See that? So we'll go up the steps now, and we'll go up to this main area. So Charity, I'm not really keying in on her right now because my mind is not there. My mind is very much on the technical aspect. So that other part of my mind shuts off. So I think this area is charged. So you're starting out with a 0.1, 0.2. 0.1, 0.2. Is there a power line here? So you got to think there's a power line somewhere close to here. And when you look up there, you got a light. And you get a spike in the EF. So that tells you got a line of power going through there. Those lines of power do give off an EMF field. But generally speaking, this whole area has a 0.1. And it's got a lot of power running through it. Is there a power line under here? Yeah, so it looks like there's a power line under here. So something you could say about that. Hello.
How's it going?
Good, I'm just getting us some readings from the place. So something you could say about that area up there, something you could start to consider, that it has a power line in through there that runs at, what was it, the 13V/M, and you can start to consider that, well, if the power is on, that area is constantly being charged, and there's a constant 0.1 EMF field. If you got a constant 0.1 EMF field, and you have this power line that runs through there, how much energy, or do spirits get energy from electrical energy? Because when we talk about the claims over there, I know for a fact I've gotten very clear, intelligent, and powerful EVP responses. And they've seen apparitions in that building, and they've heard voices over there. So you can start to maybe make a correlation. Now, correlation, what is it, a causation or something like that? But you can start to consider, well, does the power contribute to spirit manifestation? 0.1 EMF to us as biological entities is actually equal to what for a spiritual being? To us, 0.1 is nothing. But to a spiritual being, how much energy do they need to manifest, and how much is that worth to them? And then you got to think, how much energy does it take them to just do these micro and macro PK type manifestations where something gets moved, or they manifest their voice here audibly as a disembodied voice, or just a general manifestation? How much energy do they use? Or is it not even them consciously saying, okay, we're going to use energy, but maybe they are always speaking, and maybe inside of that speech it's always there, but something needs to happen on our end for us to hear it in this dimension? So they could be talking right now, but where I'm currently at, we don't have enough energy here to manifest a audible response, an audible noise here. We don't have enough energy to create a movement that they want. Now, in terms of speaking, yes, that might be a conscious thing. In terms of them moving something, yes, that might be a conscious thing. Maybe they're sitting here and they're trying to move things now, and they just can't do it. But they're talking to me, and I need my digital recorder to hear it. Or they find a way, or things just align properly where they do talk, and all of a sudden I hear a disembodied voice. So when you do EMF readings of a place, this is why you do them. So you can start to make theories and figure out how things work. Some entities just are so advanced that they know how to transfer energy and use it how they want. It'd be the same as us developing and cultivating our chi, and creating micro-macro PK manifestations. Like right now, if I WandaVisioned that easel and it just flipped over, or if I stopped the clock, those are the kind of things we talk about. Those are the kind of things that I believe they do on the spirit side that we could do here, but what it's all about is just making the body go. Seeing things over there. Back to it. This place is flat. Are they coming over here next? So, this is where I thought I saw something. So this place has a lot of power lines. Lord, what was that? You see that? Look at that. So, let's imagine that you are a paranormal investigator and the lights are out, but power's still going over here. You come over here and all of a sudden your K2 meter starts going bonkers. Now, yes, you're going to realize that, okay, there's power up there. But we don't really, without these kinds of meters, now granted, there's probably a better meter, but without these kinds of meters, we don't really get a full grasp of what's going on. Spirits can use that. You come over here, we're back to normal. So that 0.1, there we go, 0. Now we just detected some kind of a RF frequency. I don't see any reason why we have RF right there. So, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0. So this is where I saw a guy. And we're flat in here. Again, where I saw I didn't see anything over here, but you're flat over here. So when I have to think about this area up here, just from walking through here right now, you're flat. So what's going to happen is when I come back in here after hours, that'll be, I don't know when that'll be, I'll do another EMF sweep and I'll see how things have changed. But this area right here, I would say EMF wise, is fairly flat. So any EMF spikes you might see over here while investigating, you might want to consider. What we want to see is a difference in average. You know, so we got another case here. See? High EF, high EMF. So EMF and the EF sort of go together. You would pick that up. You wouldn't know the whole story, but your K2 would tell you, hey, this is a hot spot. So we're getting RF over here again. I'm going to look into RF being a trigger. You see how it just spikes and then goes away? So that could be Wi-Fi. We have to see. Actually, let's see. No, I'm still getting to learn this thing. So let's look at the RF. So that looks like Wi-Fi. My phone's transmitting, something's transmitting. You see how it just comes in waves? See? So we're probably picking up on Wi-Fi signals. But that would trigger your K2. So as we come down here. Alright. So remember I told you this is an area where Charity, I think, hangs out. Man. So being in the main lobby, we're probably getting some really high signals. Look at that. Pretty steady cell phone Wi-Fi signal. Then it just dies. So here we just want to look at, see what this guy's doing. You're looking at a 0.7. Is that from the light? Ooh, buddy. That's some serious lights. Oh, I love this picture. I'm glad I get to show you guys this. Look at this. The camera literally makes it spike. 1919, 1992. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the depth of that. Is it on it? That's funny. So, back to it. I get distracted easily. So if you were coming in through here, because of these lights here, you would have to be skeptical of any EMF spikes. These lights all carry a ton of EMF. Just a ton. And again, if we're thinking about if EMF, so EMF to a lot of people is supposed to be a sign that they're there. But I learned a good lesson a while ago from Creepy Legends that just because there is EMF present doesn't mean it doesn't show something. In terms of what you're looking for is a spike, because spirits can use that energy. And when I told you I see Charity running around this area, very happy, very energetic, and then she goes up in there, you can sort of see why. Because this whole area, while we're just walking, has a pretty good EMF, a steady EMF rating. And they might use that to power themselves. But you come up into here, and it just dies off. And remember what the average was in here? The average was about 0.0, or 0.1 is very low. You come down into this main portion, and you're spiking. You see? They're just spiked. So you could have more manifestations up here. Your EMF, your K2 meter is going to trigger up here more often. But they have the power to use the energy to do something. So I want to see if this carries anything. Because they, basically from what I've heard, that this picture might be haunted by the spirit of Charity. Interestingly enough, things spiked up with her when the picture was removed. And there's either a line behind it, a power line behind it, or something else. So 1.7, let's come back out here. 4.3. So if I'm going to check her picture, let's check other pictures in the area, because we want to see, is it just the wall? Could you say, hey, this picture is haunted too? It's running at a 7.4 or 10.0? I don't know. So the EF spikes here. EF pretty high. EF dies down. EF's lower. EMF's higher. That's a pretty consistent 1.5 or so. So, something to look into. I can't remember if I did this area or not. Yeah, I did do this area. So let's go down to the basement. Okay. So we headed down into the underground burrow portion. Pretty steady 1.5, no EF. We're not picking up any radio frequency signals. So the lights clicked on, and once the lights clicked on, our EF rose and our EMF rose. So again, lights, EF, lights, EMF. Pretty slow down here. Oh, buddy, look at that. Over here. Same shit, different day. So what you got here is when you come up through here, you have a very high EMF through here. When you have high EMF for prolonged periods of time, it can cause physical issues, physical ailments, sickness, potential hallucinations. But if you're coming through here, you could probably put a camera here and see could you pick up something. If you believe that EMF can help with manifestation, you might want to look into something here. You might want to do EVP sessions, definitely ghost box sessions. But you want to let people know. Like if you were doing a residential case, you would say, hey, you got a little bit of an EMF cage here. It might cause physical ailments. So this area, you know where we're going. So this is where they said they saw the apparition of a man. Pretty steady EMF with a low EF reading. You start doing the tools. So I would say the EMF in this area doesn't quite match the rates of the other areas. So we got a little light above us, probably a motion sensor. RF rose. That's probably the motion sensors. There's probably some radio communication going on between cameras and things like that. I would have to say that the EMF in this area is pretty high. Now, this used to be a bowling alley. So, another one of those high-powered lights right there. We knew what it was doing over there. There's a couple of them over here. So, let's take a quick reading of them. At least get close as I can. So you guys can't see it, but right now EF is 30. EMF is 5.2. So with 1, 2, 3, 4 of these lights, you're looking at a pretty good EMF output from these lights in just this area. This is where the woman said she saw the manifestation of the old farmer. The area itself, the EF is low, there's RF spikes, but the EMF is pretty steady. We're looking at up to 1, 0.2, and then 0.8. This area will be a candidate for some potential activity just because they're being fed. Once the lights go out, boom, the lights go out. What I would want to see is where the EMF reading is at once the lights go out. Does the EMF still hang around? If it doesn't hang around, you have to start looking at, well, is it charged into the walls? And the EMF, maybe it contributes to a release of residual energy, and residual energy can act as a capacitor, or does act as a capacitor to power the energy in a room. And it may lead to a heightened or more, a higher rate of manifestation of spirit activity. So right here is where they get the stuff. So you got 0.3, but again, you got another one of these lights. Just getting close to the light, EMF increases, EF increases. Sprinkler control rooms, boiler control rooms, there's a lot of electricity in there. So we go in here into the Native American area, and EM power is pretty low. What are these lights going to do? Just getting close to this light, EF increased to about 66. EMF increased also in proportion. .5, 0.7. So this room is probably pretty charged. You know, this is a good analogy. These lights with their high EF, 66, 300 something, these are your rain clouds, okay? They give off EMF. The EMF is your rain. Beneath the rain are your plants and your wildlife that grow from it. The plants and the wildlife in this situation is probably spirit activity. Do I need to say more? So think maybe it contributes like that. Sorry, back to it. So 1. You got about a steady. I mean, look at the EF, it's pretty steady. So there you go. There's more guests coming in, so I don't know if I'll get to do the investigation part. We'll see. I want to be respectful to the guests, but if all I have to come in here and do is get a good psychic medium reading and a good sweep for EMF, I'm comfortable with that. So one of my favorite places. Gotta stay on the ropes. So that's a pretty high EMF reading. Let's see what this light is at. That light, I can't get close enough. But the EF's didn't increase enough that I think it's contributing. There's about 3 lights in here. And we're at a 1.1. So again, this place is a candidate. You would want to do some good stuff in here. And I have. This whole basement floor, I would say, is pretty sharp. So I don't think I'm going to do the investigation portion. I'll probably I won't do ghost box. I'll probably go around and do some. Again, these lights, a lot of EF. I'll probably go around and do some EVP sessions. So I really don't get a read on this in here. have to look into that. It's got a pretty high EMF.